So let me be real. When I first started the series, I thought it was amazing. I didn't actually realize how much they had nerfed his super strength. He's unbelievably strong. Like, he's up there with other characters we've seen in the MCU, like Captain America, but he can actually fling a car. Where's his healing factor? Like, ever since I've realized that, it kind of bothers me. It says he heals at 3 times the rate in the Marvel Encyclopedia, but nowhere even there. They really have played down the relationship between him and Jessica Jones. I mean, they eventually get married and have a kid together. Like, this is a part of the storyline. This should be a lot more prevalent in there, and it's just not. But let's get on to the villains. Like, what in the world are y'all doing? Cottonmouth? Okay, cool. It's a black character from the comics. Where's his superpower? He's supposed to be able to expand his jaw to be able to eat a whole human. Like, kind of bad that you just made him a regular old gangster with no superpowers. Like, he's also supposed to have a suit. Like, what is y'all's problem, Netflix? Why do you hate superhero teams? And how did y'all get away with race swapping and gender swapping and removing superpowers all from one character? Oh yeah, and changing his backstory and their backstory entirely. Diamondback has nothing to do with Luke Cage. The Serpent Society, she has been a team on for a while. That was until she refused to kill Captain America and ends up, getting with him after being on his team for a while. Yeah, they've worked together. Yeah, and if you haven't caught, Diamondback is a female white character with superpowers. And you just took all that away and made him a black guy because why? Luke Cage is black. Everyone in the series was basically black. Like, how did y'all get away with that? Like, none of the people calling the MCU on race or gender swaps has mentioned anything about Netflix gender and race swapping. And y'all's habit of taking away powers is not even horrible. It's just kind of weird that y'all thought this was a good idea. I've seen this one, and if you go to my content call out section, you'll see where I call out Penny Sound because she was trying to claim that, the Judas bullet is the exact same thing as the Hammer Company's ex-wife. I mean, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. But if you're going to claim that, doesn't that argue with the fact that it's made with alien metal? Or, as they put it, metal from outer space? What does that have to do with the Chitauri? They said it was all after, the event, which again is not the event anywhere in the MCU. It's the invasion of New York or the Battle of New York. The only 2 references in the entirety of the MCU to that. And the separation of everything that should have been here, it's weird at this point. Like, enough of Marvel has happened that you've got to be able to mention more than the Battle of New York. You've got to mention some of this. Like, but it's not there. This bullet was made of metal from outer space, yet the Chitauri had energy weapons. And right around this point, energy weapons were about to or beginning to be sold. It's like also that Spider-Man just doesn't exist. Like, why are the Avengers the only ones loosely referenced? And like I said, in Jessica Jones, they do mention in season 2 Captain America and the Raft, but that's it. I mean, at least he's not the flag waver or the guy with the shield. I mean, y'all have improved a little bit, but it's almost like y'all were trying to avoid focusing on the fact that was mentioned. So honestly, Netflix, I'm glad you're out of the game of making superhero stuff because you just suck at it. I mean, come on. And you're protected by the fans? That's ridiculous. you've got to be attracting people that didn't like superheroes to begin with, because who would support the butchering of characters and backstories like y'all have done from Daredevil season 1 all the way to, what's the most I've seen up to? I'm watching through Punisher season 1 right now, so canonically I'm up to that. And I've already seen season 2 of Jessica Jones and season 3 of Daredevil, so I don't have much left to fill in. It doesn't get much better, but hey, I was going season by season, show by show, and now I'm trying to release them in canonical order. So if you'd like to see what I think about the rest of this stuff, especially the atrocity of what was done to the Heroes for I'm sorry, I forgot. They butchered the name of the team as well. It's Defenders series, but that's the Heroes for Hire Plus model, adding Jessica Jones and Daredevil. They have never been a part of the Defenders. If you just go look up the Defender team, there's been a good amount of characters on it, but none of which were any of the characters in the Netflix series. I don't even think Jessica Jones as Jewel actually ever joined that. And that's another thing. Like, y'all, what's wrong with giving her backstory of that? Why you gotta skip 2/3 of her story to have her here, and also have her not have known Luke Cage already, and to the point where they're together? And why ignore Spider-Man? Like, is Sony just, that tight on the IP? I mean, if it's all supposed to be canon, it's all supposed to be canon. And y'all aren't mentioning Spider-Man at all. Nothing, actually, at this point. I mean, The Raft, woohoo, there's actually real-world stuff called The Raft. And there's actually a prison out there. I think it's on an oil well. It's like Guantanamo Bay, kind of, just nothing as intense and nothing about war criminals. It's just very dangerous criminals. It's nothing that requires an IP for you to say, I could make a movie and put The Raft in it, as well as a captain with the name of America. So Captain America, it's not that hard. Y'all are literally choosing the stuff y'all can mention without actually directly mentioning it. And where are all these scientists being mentioned in the MCU? Nowhere. None of the events at all of the Netflix verse has been mentioned in the MCU. So y'all barely try to connect it from y'all's end. There's no connections from Disney's end, but somehow this is canon? I mean, if you really think it's still canon at this point, if you've been watching it canonically, I mean, I feel real bad for you, because that level of blindness is probably why you think Kang lost to ants. I have to ignore, like, hundreds of other things, but yeah. I mean, if you're that blind, I get it, but, like, go get your eyes checked, man. If you really can't notice this, or, check into this, or maybe trust someone like me who's actually got the comic reference. So, hey, if y'all want to see more things like this, hey, also, if you think I'm wrong, come down in the comments, put your opinions. I'll actually conversate with you back and forth for days about it. But I guarantee you, if you're arguing about the canonization of Netflix, or that these were great portrayals of it, you're arguing for stuff that makes the Ben Affleck Daredevil look peak. And, don't go there. That movie was made, and it was a joke. There's a reason it never got a sequel, and when Elektra got her own movie, there's a reason it didn't get a sequel, and that killed off their ability, and then they sold the rights. So, if you're arguing that it's canon, you need to pay attention better. But, come on. Prove me wrong. Come in the comments. Come watch the rest of the stuff. Subscribe and follow along so you know what I'm talking about next. Until then, you have a nice day.